So hello everyone, welcome to my midterm video. Today I'm just going to be talking about the 5 important questions that we were asked and prompted for this midterm. We talk about topics like personal branding, resumes, cover letters, etc. Prompt number 1. Based on what was discussed in lecture, define personal branding and then explain the steps to build your own personal brand. So when I think of personal branding, I think about telling your story, telling who you are, what you stand for, what your values are, and kind of what your goals are for the future, and how people perceive you before they actually get to speak with you and understand what you truly value. This is really important for employers and even peers because they all form assumptions about your energy, how you present yourself, your values, and just your behavior all in all. Or reputation, how you curate it and how you present it to others. You're marketing yourself. You are the product. How do you want people to see you? What really drives you in your personal and professional life? What energizes you? And that encompasses all personal branding. What the steps in personal branding involves self-reflection, so knowing who you are, what you value. I show up for others. I know that I'm a very energetic person. I love helping others grow. I love helping others see success. This is what I do for my current career. And another aspect is considering feedback. So, asking people close to you what stands out about you. Friends may tell you that, you are very dependable, you are respectful, you're affectionate, you're passionate, or you're just an overall authentic person. Value that you will get from asking these people, especially who truly know you, a very, very important insight and value in creating your personal brand, because they're going to see things that you may not even see in yourself. This kind of goes hand in hand with another step, which is evaluating your skills. So thinking about your hard and your soft skills. I know that I'm a very good communicator. I deal a lot with emotional intelligence, and those are skills that I want to put forward for potential employers. Another one is analyzing your accomplishments. So, what stories do you want to tell? What have you achieved in your life thus far? And that for me, that's been coaching a lot of different athletes and seeing them just grow up, which has been something I've been very happy to be involved in. And also, knowing your audience, know who you're pitching to, whether that's, a nonprofit director or just an overall employee recruiter. Tailoring it how you want to present yourself is another important aspect. Consider things like, your personality type, because obviously personality traits are unique to everyone. Knowing which personality traits apply to you. We talked about the big 5 personality traits like extroversion, conscientiousness, agreeability, emotional stability, and openness to experience. Crucial to, your personal brand and who you are as a person. So knowing which ones applies to you is very important as well. Then you can move on to career exploration, knowing where you want to go. Keep learning exactly where it is that you want to go. But also keep in mind your online branding is very important because your social media and online presence should align with your personal self, and this demonstrates authenticity but should also be appropriate for the workplace, as employers do look at aspects like this. And also consider, networking. Try and increase your visibility with your personal branding and maintain it. It's not one and done because as you continue life, you are a different person. You change throughout. So Serena Williams is an excellent example of that. Her personal brand is very strong. She obviously went from a very, very professional tennis player to also now being a mom, being a business owner. So it has evolved with time. She shows her full picture as she grows. So the next prompt was, in what ways were resumes and cover letters compared to a data report, and what does that mean? So in class, we had Laura Leach come and discuss the cover letters and resumes, and she talked a lot about how they are best seen as a data report and why. Resumes are kind of like the raw data. They list like your education, your skills, your location, your experiences, your awards, and all those other achievements. These are all factual pieces of information about you. Then you have cover letters. They are the actual analysis aspect. They provide interpretation of that said data on your resume. Who are you and why does this job matter to you, and how does this data that you presented make you the right fit? And so they both kind of work together, and the resume shows what you've done and the cover letter shows how and why it matters, and they all work together to become this one comprehensive data report about you. So for example, my resume shows that I volunteered as a coach. It's worked in game day operations. My cover letter explains how those experiences may have taught me leadership, adaptability, especially when managing athletes and different personalities, and how this could be applied to a different job. That's the connection. So questions 3 prompt is, how do you become a valuable resource? List 6 ways and then pick one to explain more in detail. So in class, we did discuss the 6 key ways to become a valuable resource in any workplace. The first one was emotional intelligence, which involves understanding your own and others' emotions for the better of relationships and team success. And second is goal-driven. So someone should be setting SMART goals for their ongoing growth. they should be realistic, they should be specific, measurable. For example, I set monthly goals coaching for athletes and myself. Then we have personal branding, which is, as discussed, it's how you distinguish yourself and become more memorable to employers. And then number 4 is decision making. So it's using the RAT process, widening your option, reality test assumptions, attaining distance, and preparing to be wrong. It helps avoid emotional or biased decisions and keeps you on track when trying to look for a job. And you have fundamentals, which is, knowing the job basics, knowing what's expected of you, showing it prepared. This really shows that, you respect the role and you want to be there, and they should pick you there for that reason. And then you have performance, which is, showing results, showing you're a high performer. Avoid wasting time, meeting deadlines, following up, bringing value. For example, we talked about in class how you may arrive 25 minutes early, but if you're not using that time to the company's advantage and yourself, then you are kind of wasting time. As same goes for showing up late. The key one that I did want to focus on, though, was emotional intelligence, because currently in my position, especially in coaching, emotional awareness is pretty much everything. When someone is upset and they can't focus on drills or they're discouraged, connect and encourage them, sometimes pivot my approach. And why I really, really like this one is because it's a skill that can't really be taught. It's intrinsic to an individual. And that's why employers value it so highly. It's very rare, and because of its rarity and scarcity and its value, it really helps to influence these individuals for the better enabling organizational productivity, because there's less conflict resolution, less conflict of interest, those employees to understand themselves better. Example of emotional intelligence is definitely Steve Kerr, because he balances a lot of his tough decisions and egos in a lot of his high pressure environments, that's staying very grounded, calm, and his team culture reflects that. And prompt number 4 is explain the concept of privilege in the context of sport internships, providing definition and what it looks like. So internships are often the gatekeepers of jobs in the sport industry. If you have them, you're much more likely to get a job, but access to these roles isn't quite as equal. Nepotism is very common, where students get internships through family connections. Others can afford to work, unpaid internships in very expensive cities, whereas many can't. Many are left behind and may not even have an internship at all. Hegemony, where sports internships are embedded in dominant social structures where power is unequally distributed. And then we talked about this kind of Iron Curtain effect, where there's a divide between, elite access and everyone else. Free labor, these unpaid internships, and although they may get their experiences, they're not getting their true investment. I've seen, for me, some of my peers have had amazing internships just because their parents knew somebody, or they got really close with somebody in a family who is also has connection to this other organization, where I've known a lot of people, on the other hand, who've had to search for months and months and months and sacrifice pay to build their experiences, which is a very unfair reality of these socioeconomic disparities. And many retired athletes are usually set up for a job after they retire. They get instant internships or media roles, like students who went through school, paid for school, and maybe have majored in journalism or communications with very high GPAs and may not even get simple, returns or callbacks. The final prompt was, how do you display professionalism in the workplace? Jennifer discussed professionalism, and she talked about how professionalism means doing your job and doing it actually well. Do what you say you'll do. Reliability, being aware of your language and your appearance as well. These are very important factors, as they also affect the perception of your image, and staying calm under pressure as well, because obviously working in sport, it is a very dynamic environment and things are not always going to be consistent. Professionalism really stands out when you're in a difficult situation, and that could be, if you're dealing with really rude customers, bad managers, or even just plain rejection because of the obviously scarcity of internships nowadays. Being professional when you're challenged is incredibly important. And as a coach, for me, that I've had to remain very calm in situations where parents complain or argue, things go missing, and even though I may be, upset myself or just kind of lost, leading with professionalism, staying calm, being the best I can to represent my company and my team is very important. Performing the job that you are hired to do, this is the base minimum, what you have to do and what you say you're going to do, and improving business performance. All these things combined encompass professionalism.